Perfect. Let's kick it off. Thanks for joining, everyone. As always, welcome to another edition of Midweek with Max. I am your head of community, Rick, joined by our colleagues and a very special guest this week. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Phil, our guest, and Max.
All right, so let's kick this off with Filip from Redstone. So as more recent participants of Midweek with Max know, we like to open up 5 minutes at the top of the session for one of our partners to introduce themselves and make their pitch to our community. And I'd have to say that very nearly from the beginning, Redstone has been an incredible co-marketing partner. I mean, it's a great partner in that whenever you talk to the folks at the Redstone team, it's like, oh, we're thinking of this idea. They have a bias towards yes. And so from the perspective of being co-marketing partners, they ever since very nearly the beginning, they've been amazing to work with. So I wanted to make sure that Redstone got the chance to be one of the very earliest folks to make their pitch to the Amigos and the Amigas in the audience. So without further ado, Filip, I give the floor to you. Introduce yourself, introduce Redstone, and let them know what all you do for Hemi.
For sure. Thank you so much for the warm intro, Max. Hello to all the Hemigos, as you said. That's a cool name. Well, I'm very glad to hear you guys find us cool to co-market with. We're always open to that. And you mentioned we were leaning towards yes, usually. I remember I joined Redstone around, I think, 2.5 or almost 3 years ago. So I've been quite early to the team. And right after I joined, one of the first feedbacks was you should learn to say yes more often and not say, oh, I'm not sure if we can do that, and rather usually say, hey, we can do that, and let's just figure out how to get there, right? So that's been it's funny because that was one of literally the first feedbacks I received. But anyways, I'm BD for Redstone. I was 8th person on the team, so it's been a while. Well, and what I can say, right now I'm mostly having fun, working even more, and doing stuff. For those of you that are not familiar with Redstone, we are the fastest growing oracle on the market. Over the span of, I think it will be 2 years now, early 23 is when we got the first partner. So a little bit more than 2 years, we went from literal zero to $9 billion of total value secured. So it's been quite unusual growth for an oracle. A couple of points, what we do, just in case someone isn't familiar yet. So as you know, Oracle market used to be pretty monopolized. I mean, there are plenty of Oracle protocols, obviously. But there is usually one big party, which everyone knows. And thanks to its size and I would say relationships with a lot of DeFi protocols, they used to dictate the terms. And I guess Hemi as an ecosystem, I assume you guys also work with multiple Oracle providers and we're onboarding different partners. I guess if you had a chance to let's say talk with Chainlink and try to onboard them to your ecosystem, you probably noticed how hard the communication there is. And I mean, it's not cheap and it's very, very requires a lot of effort as a client, right? So that's a niche we noticed that we can try to close, basically. And that's what we did. So at first, we introduced plenty of tokens that were not delivered by other providers. And that were a lot of on-chain native stuff. So we did a special pricing mechanisms for those types of assets. And then it somehow went, like after we first started doing, I think it was ETH LRTs, so liquid restaked tokens for Ethereum. We were super close with like EtherFi, Renzo, Puffer back then. I think that was when we got like first bigger signs of traction, because a lot of like blue chip protocols that previously only used Chainlink and were like, all right, it's either Chainlink or no other Oracle provider. And when they really wanted to onboard more of those like yield bring tokens, and they had no other solution, at least in the push model, they had no other solution than us. And they like dived into our tech, noticed that we had no mispricing, and like everything was good on that side as well. They're like, all right, we can try something else. And I think that was the main goal for Redstone. And I would say we already achieved a big part of it. So basically having tier 1 protocols use our feeds on main pools, and that is just making the industry way more accessible, and like I would say being able to develop fast and just makes the competition better on the Oracle side of things.
Excellent. Yeah. So, like I said, you guys were, one of the, at least from a co-marketing perspective, one of the earliest folks that we worked with, and the Redstone humor is a unique one, right? I mean, because I saw the Matrix send up you guys did a while back, so I thought that was excellent. So, kind of wrapping this up, drilling down to more specifically. What do you most want our community of Amigos and Amigas to know about Redstone after all of this is after we hang up from this call?
I think I would like to say basically maybe two things, right? Because I assume in your community there might be some technical people, which obviously from our perspective are sure. Like probably I would say a better fit, or just like we are in theory, I don't know how to say that, B2B protocol, or like we don't really. What I mean here is like the protocol itself doesn't interact with an end user. So if I'm addressing something, I would mostly like to address it to devs. Here at least. So I would say on Hemi, Hemi is, by the way, a good fit for us, because if we're specialized in the on-chain native stuff, I think Hemi has plenty of like BTC, LSTs, LRTs imported, and that's also a big part, let's say, of your culture. I would say Hemi is very unique in sense that it managed to onboard a lot of tier 1 dApps. So, we work with plenty of ecosystems, and let's say there are a lot of ecosystems where you can breach and probably do nothing, and Hemi is not one of them. So congrats to you guys as well, because you managed to build a vibrant one eco. And what I can say, like that, I see a lot of partners working with us on Hemi. So just to name a few dApps, like we're working there with Decent, BitFi, Satoshi Protocol, Summer Money. We have feeds deployed there. We're available in both pool model and in push model. And I guess if there are any like devs building in the community, we have push model feeds on Hemi that are, let's say, super easy to integrate. Those are basically the same chain compatible feeds you see on every other chain. So those are very good feed for like lending dApps, CDP stable coins, or like composable leverage or whatever. We also have one of the assets, I think, from BitFi, BIFBTC, which is like another one that as far as I know, is gonna be a big one on Hemi. So I would say for the devs, feel free to reach out to us, guys. Like we're available on Hemi, fully free of charge with multiple price feeds. And we are also going to be deploying more of Hemi native assets as well as soon as there is demand and they need us. And we already covered a lot of ecosystem dApps. So if you're looking for a battle test solution on Hemi, here we go.
Awesome.
Excellent. Great way. Yeah, great way to wrap that up. Thanks a lot, Filip. Like I said, you're free to stick around if you got to leave. Nobody's going to hold it against you. But thank you so much for taking the time to address the community today.
And also, we'll add on to that, if you're developing in Hemi and you're looking at any of the other like Bitcoin LSTs, LRTs, Redstone they don't support all of the ones we have on chain, but they support quite a few of them, like let's see, PumpBTC, mBTC, LBTC, CBBTC. So there's a good list of the Bitcoin LSTs, LRTs. You can get a price feed from Redstone. They're not doing the push model for a lot of those. The push is more for the main ones, Bitcoin, ETH to USDC, USDT. But a lot of those more exotic Bitcoins are also available, which is nice for building applications that use all these different Bitcoin derivatives.
That's thank you, Max. We work pretty much with every single BTC LST provider. So, and we also did a couple of POR feeds, proof of reserve, for like Merlin, Lombard, Lorenzo. So, if you're building anything BTC LST connected, that's a good fit for us as well.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you coming by.
Thank you so much, Filip. All right. Before we get into questions, Max and Phil, do you have your usual top of the show updates?
Yeah, sounds good. So welcome to another Midweek with Max. Thanks everyone for coming out again. We're, I think, 13 days post mainnet now. It all kind of blurs together, but things have been going well. We've been working on a bunch of improvements on the engineering side. We've been working on getting SnapSync working. So SnapSync, for anyone not familiar, is the way that you spin up a node very, very quickly and basically sync only the current EVM state data and then start progressing as a full node once you do that initial sync. And so it doesn't give you access to historical data if you need to do, simulate a smart contract call at chain state as of 2 months ago. You can't do that if that's before your SnapSync point. But we are getting SnapSync working because that's what a lot of people who want to run their own nodes would like to use. They don't want to do a full sync from L1, especially given L2s and the difficulty syncing L2s from L1 DA blob data, because normally blobs roll off every 18 days. And so getting that historical state can be hard. So we're getting some updates to make SnapSync work with HVM. So basically adding new peer-to-peer commands to the GEF peer-to-peer protocol to let people SnapSync HVM state when they SnapSync EVM state, so they can SnapSync a Hemi node and then run as a full node post SnapSync. So working on that, working on some infrastructure improvements, continuing to onboard more partners. On the non-technical side, BD teams doing a lot of great work getting TVL moved around from the original Hemi staking protocol to other protocols where it's useful. We still have a ways to go to get to kind of the critical mass of liquidity in some of the key pairs. So still working on getting that lined up, getting the right TVL partners for that, and also promoting the incentives for retail users to come in and provide some of that liquidity. So working through that, and yeah, I think those are the main things. Also, we did have a bump in the road with getting pop points up for Absinthe. There was the way that we were doing the pop points, basically we exported a bunch of data from Absinthe. There were some data cleanliness abnormalities that we wanted to check through first to make sure that we were submitting all the data right. So we've gone through that. We got those questions answered. So we will be getting those up very soon so we can finally close out the testnet point season formally and everyone can see their final points balances for testnet. And yeah, I think those are the big things. So focus, high level focus is obviously on mainnet. The only way to earn points right now is doing activities, primarily providing liquidity on mainnet. We did also change the incentives for Hemi staking like we talked about. So initially it was point per dollar per day for any asset you put in Hemi staking. as we announced a while ago, we were going to titrate those down over time. So that was basically, bring your assets to Hemi, stake them, start earning points in the early days, pre-mainnet for that week of community onboarding, and then the first week of mainnet release. And now we've titrated those down to, I believe, John, if you can jump in here if I'm getting any of this wrong, but half a point per dollar per day. And you can get the full point per dollar per day if you take those assets and go put them in a DEX, if you go liquidity mine on a DEX. So if you want more points, that's available on a DEX. You can stay in Hemi staking if you want, but you are getting less points, and those will continue to titrate down to start incentivizing people to move their assets over to productive protocols instead of sitting in the initial Hemi staking V1. In the future, there will be a Hemi staking V2 that will be productive. That'll actually move assets between different strategies and act as kind of a yield farming aggregator of sorts. But that will be in the future. It'll be under the same like Hemi staking branding. We may call it something like, Hemi Nexus or whatever. But for now, the V1 Hemi staking, if you're in there, your points, you are getting fewer points than you were getting before because we are incentivizing people to go move those assets to productive protocols. John, was there anything you wanted to add to that?
Sure. Thanks, Max. Good overview overall. For the visually astute, there have been some UI UX changes to the points platform overnight. So as Max had outlined, we actually just pushed out some pretty large multipliers. So now staking 0.5 points per dollar per day. Now we have 3, 5, and 8x multipliers on primary LP pairs, ecosystem pairs, and exotic pairs. So if you want to go take a look at that, that's pretty cool. We'll push out some media on that momentarily. Took care of that while you were sleeping, or while most of us were sleeping, I guess. So that's live now. Also, points dashboard is up and leaderboard is up, so as well as referrals. So all that lovely stuff is taken care of. There will be a slight delay this morning in just getting some of the mainnet points taken care of. It has to index. So today, please, no tickets for I can't see my points, but you will momentarily. So that all took place overnight, and so now the big kind of push is on any of our 4 primary dexes. You can put like Hemi BTC, USDC, USDC ETH, Hemi BTC ETH, VUSD, USDC, and USDT Hemi BTC, and grab yourself an 8x multiplier. Basically, if you just want to get an idea, picture that as just the number 8. So if you're getting 8 points per dollar per day versus half a point per dollar per day for Hemi staking. So literally 16 times the value on some of those. As mentioned, we also have a 5x multiplier. VUSD falls into that, providing liquidity for some of the more, I'll call them ecosystem exotic pairs, metronome synthetic assets, stuff like that. And then we also have 3x multipliers for some of our most exotic and kind of secondary pairs. So by all means, check those out, and you'll be hearing more by the end of the day.
That's incredible news. So the points are visible from testnet? Is that correct, John?
Not from testnet, as Max had outlined, that's still getting closed out. But mainnet points accrual is live. The indexing for that takes a little bit, so some people will see them, some people will not, depending, and until it gets completed. Similar to every time we re-index on testnet, most people are used to this by now. But I would say in the next few hours, everyone should be seeing mainnet points. So also, as mentioned, referrals are live, so you can go refer friends and get people involved that way.
That's awesome news. Okay. Well, you guys all heard that. So, like John said, please no tickets on that. Oh wait, I think the ticket bot's actually down anyway. So, yeah. Phil, you got anything for the opening? Or should we go right to questions? We got a lot of questions.
I'll keep mine short because I know that we got a queue a mile long here. Big task this week is going to be stitching everything together for the next couple of months, bringing on new marketing partners, KOL managers, etc., finalizing some additional research contracts. So you saw that we had that report from DL Research and Reflexivity. That relationship continues to pay dividends, of course. A lot of you heard Jeff's contribution to the CMC, the CoinMarketCap Q1 thing yesterday. You can see we're still penetrating into media. Saw a piece in CoinMarketCap late last week. Jeff and Max completed a dual interview with the Roll-Up that was recorded yesterday, and it'll be coming out probably in the next week and a half. So keep an eye on that. And really, right now, the team is focused on just capitalizing on the great momentum that we had. I mean, I note today that as I look at the audience number, I mean, this is a record midweek with Max attendance-wise. So it's good to see that we're bringing more and different people here into the Hemigo and Hemigo fold. So thanks for that. With that, though, we're just continuing to plug away. I'll have a lot more detail next week, but for right now, right now it's just maintaining the momentum and, frankly, loving all of our partners to death, because that's definitely how we got here. So let's go to the questions.
All right, sounds good. I got one TVL question to start things off. The user wrote, I noticed the amount staked on Hemi dropped by 100 million. Where did this 100 million go?
Good question. I believe that went to, now I'm blanking. I think it went to one of the lending protocols.
Decent,
yeah, okay. Yeah, went over to Decent. And you will see that. So since we're adjusting the points multipliers, the goal is that people pull out of Hemi staking and move over to the productive protocols. So do expect that Hemi staking number to go down. Some people like the zero risk, are willing to get much fewer points, but not take any impermanent loss risk or protocol risk. And if you want to stay in Hemi staking and earn whatever the current active points multiplier, currently 0.5, at some point it'll be even lower. That's perfectly fine. But yeah, do expect to see Hemi staking TVL go down, and those assets get reallocated to DEXs, lending protocols, yield farming protocols, etc.
Awesome. Sticking with 3-letter terms that begin with T, let's move on to TGE. Max, when TGE?
Is this the Discord bot answer before GTA 6?
If that's what you want to go with, the bot literally just said it too. So I mean,
no, far before GTA 6. Still working on the exact date. There's a lot of external factors. Like we say every week, it depends on where the market's at, depends on how other projects are doing, depends on the overall, sentiment and interest in Bitcoin L2s. Like I did say last week, I think we're very soon to be, if not already, in the uptrend for Bitcoin L2s as kind of the, we had the initial crazy excitement about Bitcoin L2s and they're going to do everything for everyone all the time instantly today, now, and it's perfectly working. And then everyone realized that's not exactly the case yet, especially with a lot of the initial projects that were coming out and basically just, slapping an EVM onto Bitcoin and, throwing up a copper multisig and calling it a day. And so I think we've been through that cycle of people realizing, okay, this wasn't everything I thought. We're seeing a lot of projects come in that, don't do all the things that we want Bitcoin L2s to do. So there's been some, resetting of expectations. And also now we have projects coming out, obviously biased towards Hemi here, but projects coming out that are kind of that V2 of, been working on the tech for a long time, really delivering on a cohesive way of building a Bitcoin L2, and in our case, tying that into the Ethereum ecosystem as well. And so I think we're on that uptrend now of seeing, the expectations came down, the tech's come up, the maturity of protocols has come up, the, understanding of the Bitcoin L2 space in general has come up. And so I think we are on an uptrend for the Bitcoin L2 ecosystem. And so that's a positive for TGE timing, but there's still stuff that we want to see from the market, and obviously there's also external dependencies like listings. Those have to be lined up and ready to go. You have to make sure you have liquidity partners and the right plan for making sure everything stays liquid. And so TBD on an exact date, hopefully relatively soon. I know in the past I've said 6 to 8 weeks post mainnet, so that's still a reasonable target, but again, that could get delayed longer than that for a lot of different factors.
All right, thank you. We'll keep
Also,
the bot
just to add
there.
on to that, if you see somebody selling you a Hemi token, it's not a Hemi token. Okay. There is no Hemi token. There's nothing. If you see something on a DEX or anywhere for sale that's claims to be a Hemi token, it is not a Hemi token. Anyone can launch an ERC20 with any name they want, and so be vigilant of that. At the moment, there is no Hemi token.
Thank you for that. That actually leads us to our next question. What will the native token be called at TGE?
Likely Hemi. If it's not, maybe Hemi Network or something, but the ticker will be Hemi.
Right. That makes sense. When can we expect to see more transparency and information regarding tokenomics? I just did so.
Relatively soon. We're still finalizing some stuff there. So definitely, at or before TGE. Some of that we may be releasing in parts as some parts do get collapsed, like final emission schedules, stuff like that. We did post a high-level version of the tokenomics, basically the macro buckets, team, community, seed round, all of that, as part of the node sale that we did, so that all that information is still accurate. But the information on the finer breakdown of those buckets is still being determined and will be definitely available at TGE, if not, hopefully slightly before.
Right. How will pop points tokens? I don't know how to say that differently. I'll POPP as opposed to POP.
Pop.
Pop be mapped to tokens after TGE.
All I can say on that is the current payout mechanism is meant to simulate post TGE economic design.
All right. Will any CEXs be listing what? Wait, where'd that question go? Oh, sorry, it just got moved. Will any CEXs be listing the native token?
Yes, for sure. Can't go into any more details there, but absolutely. And that's one of the external dependencies for when TGE gets scheduled.
I do believe that yourself and John answered this, but just for posterity, when will pop points be added to the dashboard?
Are you asking about the testnet pop points, or I'll answer both. So testnet, hoping, I know I said this last week, hoping to finally get those in the next 24 hours or so. We finally got something cleared up on the absent side with some data stuff we wanted to make sure was right, because basically some accounts had some data, some had different data, some had multiple primaries, and so we wanted to make sure that we were reporting everything in a way that it lined up correctly on their end and synced everyone's accounts. So we've gotten that figured out. Those should be going up very soon. Now that we got that cleared up. For mainnet, we are going to be releasing a updated pop stats dashboard. So pop points are not going to show an absinthe. It's an entirely separate system. They are not doing pop mining in mainnet does not get you any mainnet season points, but it does get you those pop points that, like I said, are meant to simulate mainnet post TG economics. But it is just a totally different mechanic and system. So those are not going to show up on absinthe. We are going to do a updated version of the testnet pop stats dashboard. That one that looked like a first year somebody learning HTML designed it. That's my design, by the way. But we will be updating that with for mainnet with some more mainnet relevant stats, like how many people are actively pop mining each keystone and how the payouts are getting calculated, and some breakdown on that. I will also add for the calculation of pop points, we initially launched with a very simple model so that people could understand it better and people wanted to get engaged, knew what was going on, didn't have to figure out this whole complex system. So right now it's 100 pop points per keystone, split between everyone who pop mines that keystone and gets into Bitcoin within about an hour and a half-ish, roughly, depends on the timing of Bitcoin blocks and Hemi blocks, but roughly an hour and a half. So if I did two pop transactions mining keystone, Hemi keystone 500, and Joshua did one and Rick did 3, then the total is 6. I would get 1/6 of that 100 pop points allocated. In the future, we are going to update it to the dynamic targeting algorithm. Sorry, I'm on very little sleep. And so that is going to adjust dynamically that total amount of pop points getting distributed based on trying to target 4 active miners per keystone. And so if there's 6 miners or 6 publications of a keystone, it'll lower the rewards versus what it paid. It'll lower the rewards for the next round. If it got 2 or 3, it'll increase the rewards for the next round, obviously within certain bounds. But we will be launching that relatively soon. We'll give everyone notice so they can choose whether they want to pop mine or not and look more into the details and understand those mechanics. But for now, it's just the simple 100 pop points divided amongst all the keystone publications that get into Bitcoin before the payout occurs. And then it'll change to the dynamic retargeting algorithm. And then also on the pop point side, we have seen about 100, I think we're at 105 unique EOAs that have done pop mining on mainnet. So that's cool to see a lot of people picking it up and engaging with it. But yeah, so that's hopefully that answers that question. Not sure there is testnet or mainnet, but I think that covers everything.
I think that covered the hell out of it. I have 3 more questions in this bucket, but I think they could be quick because I feel like you may have addressed elements of it, and if not, it's probably a wait and see kind of thing. But we can kind of breeze through these. How will points be converted into tokens?
So if you're asking just about the mainnet, incentivized mainnet absent points,
I believe
basically, those will. We don't have details on the actual token allocation yet, and there's a lot of details there. How long is the mainnet season going to run? There will be multiple mainnet seasons, like almost 100% guaranteed. And so whether the first mainnet season runs for 3 months and then people get rewards and then we do a new mainnet season, whether the first mainnet season runs for 6 months, that's still TBD. That has a lot of effect on the actual conversion to rewards. Also the number of people who participate, and more importantly for the mainnet season, the amount of liquidity that's provided to protocols, the amount of assets that people put up will also influence that. So it's not just a simple, all of mainnet other than the pop mining points, but all of mainnet points in Absinthe will get, convert to X%. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be heavily based on how much activity, how much actual economic value was created, and then what is that worth to the protocol, and what's a fair reward for that for when that mainnet season closes. So details TBD, but the general mechanics will be close to the end of the season. We will decide what that conversion is based on all that economic activity that the season generated, and then you will have to go through a claim process to actually convert those points into on-chain rewards.
Right. Can you tell us the intended use of the Hemi token?
Yeah, lots of different things. So it's going to be once we get to decentralized sequencing, it's going to play a huge role in network security. And so you have to stake Hemi tokens or have a node license NFT in order to operate a sequencer on the network and earn emissions and a share of the protocol fees that are collected, the base gas, the tip, all of that. It's also going to be used for other protocols in the future that support the L3 ecosystem, so things like shared sequencing, shared DA system, contributing security to that. It's going to be staked if you want to participate in decentralized batching and proposing, or what we lump together and call publishing on Hemi. When that's released, it's going to have uses for economic security for collateral systems, whether that's cross-chain liquidity systems, whether that's in the future, BitVM custodianship, BitVM-based custodianship, vault custodianship systems. It'll be useful there. it will be used as on-chain gas, and also that means the way that we're going to implement it is basically you effectively get a discount on gas by paying with Hemi tokens once that feature is activated. So if you'll still be able to continue to pay fees in ETH. We'll probably also add fee payment in Hemi BTC, but any payment that's not in Hemi tokens will be charged an extra fee and converted into Hemi tokens automatically by the protocol before being distributed to portions that go to the DAO or to publishers, to sequencers, all of that. And so by paying in Hemi tokens, you're effectively getting a fee discount because you're bypassing that conversion mechanism. And there will be a staking system with DAO for on-chain governance, and hopefully some additional exciting things in there that I won't talk about yet until they're a little more finalized. But we got some interesting plans for Hemi token staking and being able to, stake once and participate in many different parts of the protocol in a really cool way. We're kind of codenaming the converged staking system. And yeah, I think that's most of it. And then obviously, any interesting new use cases, they'll basically power the L3 ecosystem. So L3s that launch on Hemi, they'll be doing pop publications to Hemi to inherit Bitcoin security. They'll be publishing data to Hemi for settlement from the L3 to the L2. All of that's going to be consumptive of Hemi tokens by the protocol or its users in some way as well.
Awesome. That actually also answers the next question, so we can move on. This actually isn't a question, but 4 people tagged me to tell you that you have great hair, Max. I'm not kidding. It was 4 people who tagged me. So
we got to do something fun with that token, maybe like a Discord giveaway or something.
We really do have to do something with that because, yeah, the crowd loves your hair. And so
you should not have seen me yesterday.
Great job. As always, keep on keeping on. Moving on to team/open source. How large is the Hemi team?
I don't know the exact head count. I want to say 35. 35-ish. Might be 33 or 36 or something, but 35-ish. And that's all full-time, or at least, full-time equivalent if there's 36 and like 2 half-time or something. But yeah, about 35 full-time equivalent, I believe.
How many engineers are working on the Hemi network?
I think 10 or 11. I'm going to go with 11 with my
Phil had a good answer too.
3 hours of sleep, mental math.
This is oddly specific. Who is MP31337?
That is Marco, one of our senior engineers. He's doing a ton of work on TBC, basically the custom Bitcoin daemon that's embedded in the EVM, and also a bunch of work on the Hemi network, outside of opgeth and opnode, all the other parts that make the Hemi network function, BFG, the pop miner. I don't know, Marco, I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you want to hop in for a few minutes?
I will say that.
Yeah, I figured it out.
Hey,
I figured out how to hit unmute.
All right. Hit it, Marco.
Hey, y'all. I'm Marco. I hack on just about any piece of the Hemi network. Typically, the stuff I work on, you guys don't really see because you guys see all the fancy stuff done by the smart people. I just, make the Bitcoin pieces kind of tick and, make sure that the whole thing doesn't fall apart. And when it goes slow, I make it go fast. That's, I think, kind of what I do on a daily basis.
Marco's way underselling himself there, but we'll let him get away with it. But yeah, Marco works on a lot of the critical pieces. The fact that people are using all these features on Hemi that use all the HVM precompiles to get Bitcoin state in the EVM. The reason all of that works pretty much flawlessly and performantly is largely Marco's work. Obviously, there's other people on the team contributing to that as well, but that's been a huge area of his focus. And also a very deep crypto history. He was one of the original developers in Decred, which was, I'm probably going to butcher this, but I believe the first proof-of-stake, proof-of-work hybrid.
That's correct. We kind of invented it.
You'll actually see if you look in the Geth source code, you will see a lot of libraries and stuff from Decred that are still being used today, which is pretty cool. And obviously, there's tons of stuff in our code because Marco knows it, and it fits and plugs holes that we needed plugged.
Right. Well,
But yeah.
I also worked on BTCD, which was the Golang Bitcoin daemon, full Bitcoin node. So yeah, I've been working in and around Bitcoin for a very long time. And if we actually rewind the Hemi project for me, back when it was a bit of a proof of concept, it was more of an idea. So maybe we can do something together. And then, and I guess I somewhat misunderstood what people meant initially, because I thought, okay, so we're going to do what we actually ended up doing. But I don't think that was the original idea. Max, is that somewhat correct?
With the like embedded Bitcoin full node in the EVM
Yeah.
type stuff. Yeah, no. Back when Marco came in, it was basically we weren't even at the L2 phase. We were still working on. I think back then the idea was basically an L1, an Ethereum EVM based L1 secured by Bitcoin with POP, and then we wanted to do obviously some more Bitcoin stuff, but as to what that looked like, there were a lot of ideas floating around. We were definitely not nearly decided on like embedding a Bitcoin full node or anything like that. That evolved probably more like a year. I think, Marco, you've been here, I want to say 2-ish years.
Yep, almost 2. Yeah, this summer 2 years.
Yep. So I think I want to say like November, December of last year is really when the idea for HVM came together. Which, yeah, I think that was what HVM ended up being was a lot of what you thought we were doing originally. But,
right, and yeah, so I kind of intuitively developed in that direction. That was kind of the point I was trying to make. So because it made sense to me to basically have all this information available. And once I started working on making some of it available, going the extra step to bring it all was kind of not terrible. So then, and I think Max got excited once he got all the goodies, and then we kind of, and that's kind of how we landed up where we are today. Is I think that's a fair characterization, right?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, we had a lot of the core componentry for like extracting all the right Bitcoin data, and then turned into, okay, let's embed this into the EVM, and then let's make these tweaks here to make it deterministic and be driven by L2 state and all those rough edge sanding that we needed to do to actually fit that Bitcoin full node type structure that we were working on into the EVM.
Right. Well,
and Marco's
and I
also
think
saying he
what's
put
interesting though
all
is
my
that
bad PRs.
yeah, yeah. So, but I think actually what's interesting in this project is the fact that we brought very deep Bitcoin knowledge together with very deep Ethereum knowledge, which typically is mutually exclusive because people tend to land in one camp or the other. And I think Jeff is one of the people that wasn't that way, and I am not either. So, and then Max is, yeah, I don't even want to begin to describe what Max has in his head. It's a lot. And between the skill sets that we had there, we were able to pull off Hemi as it is today, and I think it's a gem. It's pure diamond.
Yeah, we're all super excited. And one of the things on the team composition that Marco kind of touched on is nobody here is a Bitcoin or Ethereum zealot. Everyone likes all the technologies available and recognizes what they're good at, what they're bad at, how to bring them together in interesting ways. So it's if you're trying to build something that's bridging Bitcoin and Ethereum, you don't want somebody who thinks, Ethereum shouldn't exist and stole the show from Bitcoin or vice versa, right? And so having that even just cultural balance of we love Bitcoin for what it is and what it can do and its stability and the way that it's governed. We love Ethereum for the features that they're adding, despite how difficult it is to run a node sometimes. We love them for all the features they're doing, the support of the L2 ecosystem, all the work that ecosystem has been doing towards interoperability. And okay, great. Both of these projects have amazing things to them. How do we combine them in a really cool way? And that's something that culturally everyone's very aligned on. Everyone loves and has the background working in the Ethereum space, working in the Bitcoin space, to really understand those technologies at a deep level and bring all that together, which is it's hard to put together a team like that. So it's pretty special.
Right, and I would go as far as saying that we were the first ones to fully succeed in doing so. While I do recognize that there's some competition out there, I'm not as sure if it's as rich, if you will, as our ecosystem.
We are definitely biased, but yeah, especially on the Bitcoin interoperability side, especially Bitcoin programmability and EVM. I will say, just feature-wise, totally third, bird's eye view. What we're doing is extremely unique. It's not something that any other protocol has attempted to do or implemented. There's been bits and pieces. There's projects that have, Oracle-based solutions for some of the data that we're bringing into the EVM in a fully trustless, permissionless way. There are systems that can bring some of that data on-chain, like the Bitcoin header relay system. That's been on Ethereum for 9 years, but that's extremely limited. You only get this small view into what's actually happening on Bitcoin, and the actual coordination of what you need users, the data you need them to bring on chain, and these proofs, and then validate, and then parse all that out, and custom EVM code, and then not being able to, actually look at the UTXO table, which is the important part. That'd be like saying you can write Ethereum smart contracts, but you can't see, the state of other contracts on the system. That's kind of the UTXO equivalent in some way on the Bitcoin side. And so there are bits and pieces out there in different projects that have tried to bring some of that data in some way into a programmable environment. But what we've done with bringing all of the Bitcoin data, the entire UTXO table, which can't be cryptographically proven. I mean, obviously you can do a ZK proof, and that's a whole other thing, but bringing all that data natively, making it available to smart contracts, letting smart contracts look through and crawl through that data dynamically through different execution paths. So, you can write something with Bitcoin header relay that brings a proof of one transaction on chain and parses some data out and does something with that information, but you can't go and see, hey, is this UTXO still unspent for, say, a custodianship system? Or you can't look at the, aggregate activity of an address and, what is the balance of this Bitcoin address? There's no way to prove that. You're basically proving a negative in an unbounded system. It's technically bounded, but it acts unbounded because to make it bounded, you have to bring everything on chain, which is what we did by embedding that full Bitcoin node in the EVM. So it's what we're doing on that side is very unique in the market for sure, and was not easy to build, but we had the right skills to put it together.
Right, and I'm not going to make any roadmap predictions here. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but with that amount of functionality, there's a lot of things that we still have on the docket that we can build, and we'll be building over the next couple of months, years. That is going to really leverage the combination of both Ethereum and Bitcoin and make it much more seamless than it even is today.
Absolutely, and there's just to hint at some of the roadmap items. I know we've discussed some of these in the past publicly, but there's a bunch more functionality to add to HVM in upcoming phases. So a couple of the things like being able to have a smart contract call automatically triggered based on a state change on Bitcoin. So saying, hey, when this UTXO is spent, the Hemi protocol should call this contract automatically with this data to go and process and do this thing with it. So that makes it even easier to build custodianship systems or cross-chain dexes, lending protocols, all of that. And we're going to be doing some stuff probably with meta protocols. So being able to look at ordinals, BRC20s, runes, stuff of that nature, because that's basically just a lens through which to view the Bitcoin chain state. And so there'll be some cool stuff there. And then, what does that bubble up to? It's whenever you're building infrastructure, it's always in these layers. So you have the base layer of this, deterministic Bitcoin node embedded in the EVM, accessible in the EVM. Then you have the abstraction layer of Bitcoin Kit, making that easy, making it so you don't have to go and understand all the nitty-gritty details of the Bitcoin protocol. You can operate at a bit of a higher level as a developer. Obviously, you still need to understand how the pieces fit together, but makes that a lot easier. Automatic data parsing, stuff like that makes it really convenient. Then you have the applications, or I should say, like interoperability infrastructure that can sit on top of Bitcoin Kit for doing stuff like smart wallets or creating some sort of a abstraction layer for certain views of Bitcoin. And then developers can build on top of those, either directly on top of Bitcoin Kit, or use some of those forthcoming, public good Bitcoin infrastructure running in the EVM to then build all kinds of cool user-facing apps, whether that be completely non-custodial DEXs and lending protocols, non-custodial Bitcoin staking with eigenlayer equivalent functionality, which is not possible today with any of the native Bitcoin staking approaches. Obviously, the BitVM-based tunnel that we're working on, and actually the way that we designed HVM really complements all of the development and work that's been done in the BitVM space, because the one sort of open issue with the BitVM2 canonical design is this, and we'll get back on track in a minute, Rick, sorry. But with BitVM2, you have this issue where Bitcoin's not self-aware. And so, in Ethereum, when you write a smart contract, you can have code that says, hey, go look at this Uniswap pool and look at the assets in it and what's the current price that we can pull from that, and then compare that to the data that this Oracle posted on chain here, and then compare that to this poll model Oracle data that the user brought in, and then take that and then look at how much of this collateral asset is being held in that contract over there. And so you can have all this logic that looks at all these different pieces and does stuff, in your smart contract based on all this state in the rest of the, EVM ecosystem that you're running within, or even now some of the interoperability tech at a slight delay, what's going on in other EVMs or even non-EVM execution environments. On Bitcoin, you don't have any of that. Your Bitcoin script, you can think of Bitcoin kind of like, you have all these piggy banks, and you can only open a piggy bank with a certain special hammer, and then you can take everything in that piggy bank and put it into new piggy banks that have new special hammers, right? And that's kind of the UTXO model, is all these lock boxes or piggy banks where, all you can do on Bitcoin is basically run very simple code that unlocks one of those piggy banks and then lets the person who is able to unlock it reallocate those, whatever's in the piggy bank to other piggy banks. And so there's a lot of benefits to that system. There's benefits in parallelism, there's benefits in the simplicity, there's great stuff that lets you do for things like atomic swaps. But you also lack this introspection to what else is happening on the chain. So you can't say this piggy bank can only be opened if that piggy bank was opened, at least not natively. And so to do stuff like that, you need all these interesting constructions like having covenant emulation with basically a setup ceremony of users. And so there's all these different workarounds and ways to get Bitcoin to do interesting creative things, but that lack of self-introspection is one of the main things that really makes designing cross-chain custodianship systems for wrapped Bitcoin type products very difficult to build. And the current BitVM2 design uses something called superblock light client emulation, which basically is a probabilistic way that uses some statistics and expectation of block hashes and their difficulties and all this stuff to negotiate in a multi-party competitive system what the actual canonical chain is to then validate ZK proofs against. And the way that we designed Hemi, the point here is Hemi's the censorship-resistant external observer of Bitcoin consensus due to the way that we designed HVM. And so that can replace that superblock light client emulation system in BitVM2 tunnels to actually have a very reliable, very robust, non-influenceable, ZK provable external view of Bitcoin consensus that can reflect Bitcoin state back to itself. So you can kind of think of it like Bitcoin needs all this to build like a BitVM system. The Bitcoin script needs all this contextual information about what else is happening on Bitcoin. There's no good way to get that. The current way is vulnerable to ransom attacks from basically Bitcoin miners who can withhold super blocks and mess with the system. And with Hemi basically as a public good emits these uninfluenceable or very hard to influence. You have to censor Ethereum and Hemi simultaneously. Basically means controlling 51% of Ethereum proof of stake power and Hemi consensus power, especially once we decentralize a sequencer. And anyway, those proofs that get emitted can be used to reflect any part of Bitcoin state back into a Bitcoin script to be used to basically give Bitcoin scripts the ability to have contextual execution, which is a super cool feature. So we'll go more into depth on that and talk more about that maybe separately. Sorry, Rick, we got pretty derailed there, but it's one of the exciting things we're working on.
Oh, don't apologize. It's your show, sir. We have a lot of questions. Do you
let's get back on track.
I'm so sorry.
But thanks for hopping on stage, Marco. We should I've been saying this for a while, but we should definitely get some of the engineers on a call and have more of a fun engineering focused live stream instead of WinTGE.
Right. Well, I can bore you people to death about UTXOs. So just let me know whenever you need me.
It'll be a competition amongst all of us.
I'll literally just be sitting here being like, that sounds great.
Wonderful.
I'm like, I love all of this. It'll just go over my head, but it's really cool. And honestly, like it's important to talk about all these features because that is essentially what makes Hemi Hemi. Like we have all these rad technologies and like passionate engineers and founders and team members and a community. Um, Speaking of the community, we do have a lot of questions if you have a little more time.
Yep, yeah, for sure. I can stay on an extra probably 15-ish minutes here.
All right, we can try to breeze through these. Can anyone contribute to the Hemi network? If so, what would be the best way to start contributing?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're open source. You can go to github.com/hemilabs and see all of the repositories for everything from the pop miner and BFG and all the pieces that make sort of that Bitcoin side of it tick, including TBC. You can look at the Optimism and opgeth repos. There's a ton of repos for UI front end stuff, some of the protocol smart contracts. And so it really depends on what you want to contribute to. I'd say if you're familiar with Go, I think a good place to start could either be adding features to the pop miner, doing stuff like adding monitoring or payout estimation or whatever. So there's a lot of cool stuff that can be done with a pop miner. If you are more of a protocol engineering side, you want to do something on the sort of HVM side, but still in the protocol. If there's certain like precompiles that you think would be useful for developers to have, stuff like that, that's in the opgeth repo. If people want to propose additions, obviously those have to be done with protocol upgrades. We can't just merge in a new precompile and hope for the best. There's things like that will take a lot more review and have to be activated at a certain height as part of a larger network upgrade and stuff. But if you're interested in that, there's definitely stuff on the feature side that can be contributed to primarily opgeth, possibly Optimism to some extent, but mainly opgeth for a lot of the interesting like HVM stuff. If you're a smart contract developer, obviously there's a ton of cool apps and ideas and stuff that you could build on Hemi if you're interested in using HVM and you want some ideas for cool stuff to work on. We do have some in the docs, some stuff like Bitcoin MEV marketplace. If you're non-custodial cross-chain DEX, non-custodial lending protocols, and if you want to chat with the team about what that architecture might look like using HVM, we are more than happy to chat through that if anyone's legitimately interested in building some of those cool HVM-based DApps. There's, obviously you don't have to use HVM to develop on Hemi. You can use just the existing EVM stuff and all the protocols that are deployed in Hemi mainnet. And so if you have an idea for a DApp, obviously anything you could build on any other EVM, you can build on Hemi. And plus, if you want to use those Bitcoin bits to do something special, that's always available. And we're more than happy to talk through some of those designs and how to use HVM and Bitcoin Kit correctly and efficiently, and review structures of applications that use it and stuff like that, because it is a new technology, and obviously there needs to be some sort of support and onboarding and helping people who want to develop using that technology, make sure they're doing it right and doing it in a way that makes the most sense for what they're trying to build. If you're a UI person, there's definitely improvements and stuff that could be done on the UI side, whether that be our portal, whether that be I'm not sure if the Hemi marketing site is on GitHub. I'm not sure how that's designed, but definitely stuff like the portal, some of the DApps, stuff like Pure Finance, if you want to contribute on the UI side, those are all open source repositories as well. So yeah, it really depends what you want to do, but there's, we are open source. We do accept good PRs. And if you have something in particular that you want to work on, reach out and we're more than happy to talk through what it might look like, chat through anything you may need from the Hemi side, whether that's tech information, or if you're launching a protocol and want to have rewards to build a user base through the points program, any of that. We will be putting together and announcing a more formal like bounty and grants program that'll outline here's what protocols can do, these different types of protocols, these types of rewards and incentives for their communities are available. Here's how the system's going to work. We will also have a retro PGF type system. So more details on that coming hopefully very soon. But yeah, really depends on what you want to contribute on. But there's tons of areas to contribute based on your skill set and what you're interested in.
Awesome. I do want to add something. That Marco also makes really fire memes, and if he keeps posting them, maybe he can reach level 5. Let's move. Let's move on. I have a lot of Deimos questions, John, if you're available. Is Deimos required, and if so, for what programs? Testnet, mainnet, pot mining, and when do we have to be verified? Can we wait to verify until all the rewards details have been released, or recommend to do sooner?
Yeah. So 2 clarifications there. Testnet and mainnet points, although they're separate tranches, like it's all the same thing. You're getting to the same end goal, which is the rewards for that. So one clarification there. We'll treat them as the same as far as the points program goes. Deimos within the points program is an anti-Sybil tool. As part of that, there is a requirement to have an only me ID, right? So you need to have an only me ID, which means you mint a token after basically hashing your biometrics. The question regarding verification, which keeps coming up, yes, there will be a requirement to verify a couple of times. There'll be, we will definitely communicate that when that's required. So as far as like, hey, can I wait until X, Y? I mean, that you can most certainly wait as you see fit based upon our announcements of when to verify, et cetera. So, I mean, at the end of the day, the core goal there is to ensure that the user's still in control of their wallet over a period of time and that it's the same person. So that's kind of the thought process there. With that being said, you're okay to verify additional times if you would like to, or play it safe or whatever. That's totally fine. But as of like today, right now, as I speak, there is no requirement to have verified yet. There will be very soon, and then there will be other times as we approach TGA. / the end of points and rewards, or this season, I should say. So, as time goes on, there will be requirements to verify more than once. But once again,
can you quickly explain why the multiple verifications is important? I've touched on this a little bit in the past, but I think it'd be good coming from you.
Sure. So I think and I said it briefly, but just to give a situation here, right? Let's assume that me and Max share a household, and there's a lot of situations like this that I've seen so far. So, Max has his wallet, I have my wallet. I want to make sure that Max is still in control of his wallet over a period of time, let's say 90 days. I want to make sure that I still have control of my wallet as well over a period of 90 days. And that's just for an example. So basically, the initial verification that allows you to mint the token isn't really the verification we're talking about. That's just the minting process. So it hashes your biometrics. It creates a, 256-bit hash that we can compare to in the future to ensure that this is the same person. The verification aspect basically has you redo that same process again, and then has a small fault tolerance to allow for users to ensure that it's still the same user behind that wallet. Why that's important is because we want to ensure that these are not syndicate situations, which I've seen a couple of, where basically now me and Max work together on a host of different wallets in order to ensure that we are maximizing our potential, right? Or pooling funds or doing other stuff. All of these things have a net negative result for users, as far as like the trustworthiness and the, IO of work being put out. So this basically ensures that we cut down on those syndicates, which, like I said, I've seen a couple of. These are relatively large operations where people try to extract value out of points programs by basically doing very little and having a lot of wallets under their control and getting people to verify behind them. So having this type of methodology in place, it makes it much harder, because if I'm running a syndicate with, let's make it easy, 5 friends of mine, now I have to remember which wallets are with which people at which time, which makes things much harder. This cuts down on this type of activity, by orders of magnitude. So hopefully that was clear on why that is a requirement. Once again, at this exact moment as we speak, there's a handful of people that have verified to test it out, including myself. There is no need at this time. There will be very soon, and we will communicate that clearly.
All right, thank you for that. I do have one quick follow-up if you could address. It's a common question regarding the fees. Can you clarify what the fees are and why, I guess, the fees are? Is the best way to surmise that?
Sure. So besides gas, there is a fee attached to both minting and verification on mainnet, right? For those that had minted on testnet, they were dropped a free one. Therefore, those users do not have to pay to mint one. They will have to pay to verify. Why is there a fee? Just like anything else, there is services on the back end that require this. They require payment. So at the end of the day, this is a third party. Deimos itself is a third party. We use other services as well to ensure that we are able to not only basically get the biometrics in the first place, but also check them against various other hashes within the system. So there's two services in play there. Those have a cost, and we offset that cost by having users pay a small amount for it. That's the very basic logic on that. So I have had questions about minimizing that or doing other stuff with it, which I am addressing and taking a look at. I will say that the margin on that is not very much. So we'll do my best to adjust as appropriate to ensure that users are not having that as a roadblock.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much for that. I mean, we have the announcement and we have the fact, but it really does help to explain. We've just had so many questions regarding it. Okay, Max, we have a question. Is there any news, updates, etc. you can share regarding Veriblock? We had 2 users ask about that.
Not at the moment, unfortunately, but it's still coming soon. Still stuff in the works, and how exactly it's going to be structured. But absolutely, stay tuned. It's coming.
All right. So, Poison, it is still coming. There's just a work in progress. Just to answer your question. Okay, we have covered Deimos. We have covered that. Okay. Here's one more that I think would be good to get a straight answer on. I'm just going to say I can stay on for 15 minutes extra after everyone needs to drop and cover the community questions. So I'm going to skip those for now, but I can stay on and address those if anyone wants to listen to me ramble. Okay. Depending on the event, certain geographical areas have not been eligible. For example, the node sale does not permit US users. Deimos does not allow Chinese users. Would it be possible to be more transparent on what regions are excluded from certain programs and why?
Good question. So I think we've given all the transparency of everything that we know at the moment. So like node sale, yeah, no US users. As for other programs and things, that's really going to depend on legal at the time that we do or close out the program, unfortunately, and so there's not really more we can share there at the moment. But as soon as we do know stuff for sure, we'll share it with the community.
All right. Let's see. Okay, here's one. When will Hemi Hatchlings NFT be available on mainnet?
Very soon. I'm not sure the exact ETA on that. I know that some of the people on the smart contract side are working on other things, but I think everything's pretty much ready to go there, so should be in the very near future. And we did already mint the I broke Sepolia NFTs and the only me IDs that were brought over from testnet. So those 2 have been done. The final NFT mint is the Hemi Hatchling testnet to mainnet mint that we'll do. But yeah, that should be done relatively soon.
Awesome. Let's see. I'm moving that. Where did that? I'm so sorry. I was literally just going to ask a question and it disappeared. Oh, good God. Oh, sorry. Who should pop mine on mainnet?
If you, let's see, based on how many pop points you're getting, if you like that, considering mainnet post TG economics relative to the amount of Bitcoin you're spending. And so for pop mining, the cost of pop mine changes over time because the Bitcoin fees that you have to pay to get into one of the immediately upcoming Bitcoin blocks in order to be eligible for payout. And then the reward also changes based on how many people are actively engaged in pop mining. So like I mentioned earlier, that mechanic of right now it's 100 pop points distributed evenly amongst all the people who successfully published a keystone. And with the caveat there, if somebody published it twice, that counts as 2 people for that purpose. So it's divided amongst all the publications is probably a cleaner way to say it. So it's really a personal choice based on if you like the number of pop points that you're getting. And as a reminder, pop points are meant to simulate post-TGE economic activity. If you like that relative to the amount of Bitcoin you're spending, I'd recommend, if you're not sure about it, maybe spend a couple dollars doing a couple Bitcoin transactions, see, how many pop points you're getting, keep an eye on how many pop points you're getting for the Bitcoin that you're spending and decide if that makes sense for, what you're willing to pay to get those pop points, basically. It's also more for advanced users and people who, are willing to run something that they have to pay attention to from the economic side, because it does change, again, based on all those different factors. And so if you're interested in participating in Hemi and you want something that's more set and forget, then I'd recommend going into the liquidity providing side, bringing assets on chain, putting them in a DEX, putting them in a lending protocol, that sort of activity based on the current the current points. Sorry, take pop out of that. The current points multipliers that are listed on Absinthe. That's more of a set and forget thing. Obviously, that program will change over time with different multipliers and different protocols for different assets. But that's much more of a set and forget thing, whereas the pop miner is more of an active, involved thing of monitoring what you're paying in Bitcoin fees, what you're earning in pop points, and running the analysis on whether that makes sense economically to you.
All right. If you have time, I want to be respectful of your time. I got one more, and everything else we can probably handle in chat. Could you clarify whether these NFTs will be exclusively for members holding the testnet NFT, or will there be a whitelist program for a broader distribution?
Is this for Hemi hatchlings?
I believe so.
So Hemi hatchlings, basically whoever owned them on testnet will get them on mainnet. And there will not be any additional minting of the NFTs. So basically, you have to have had it on testnet in order to get it on mainnet, but they will be transferable. So somebody, you as a testnet user who has a Hemi hatchling could send it to, once you get the mint on mainnet, you could send it to a user who was never on testnet, and they could own that NFT. It is transferable, but the people who will initially have them are only the people from testnet, and that'll be the total supply of those NFTs.
All right, awesome. I can field a bunch of community questions. Max, I know you have like a billion things going on, so if you need to drop, don't sweat it.
Let me just look through the questions real quick and see if there's a couple rapid fires, and then I do have to bounce. But
okay.
Will there be recruitment for pop miners on mainnet? Not sure what that's asking, but if you're asking about referral rewards, no. So the Absinthe referral program is only for the Absinthe points, and again, that's a separate mechanic from the pop points. And so if you refer somebody who does pop mining, you will not be getting incentivized mainnet points for doing that. And it was the same mechanic for testnet as well, where even though pop mining earned you points in the incentivized testnet, those didn't trickle over to referrals. So if you referred somebody who did pop mining on testnet, you did not get a portion of their pop mining points that they earned. And then on mainnet, they are entirely separate, and there's no referral system for that. What are the rewards for pop mining on mainnet? We already covered that. That's the 100 tokens per keystone distributed amongst everyone who got a publication of a keystone into Bitcoin within about an hour and a half. And then that mechanic is going to change to a more complex version that's self-balancing. We will announce when that's going to happen ahead of time and give people time to absorb and understand the new mechanic and decide whether they still want to participate or how they want to participate after that change. What is the target number of pop miners on mainnet? It'll be 4. So the protocol is going to target having 4 publications per keystone, and that's what it's going to use for dynamically adjusting rewards based off of who should pop mine on mainnet. Covered that. Why is pop mining called mining when it's not really mining? Mining is a very vague term. It's basically doing something, at least my definition of mining is doing anything that only a human or only an EOA can do that gives security to a protocol. So in the proof of stake world, they've largely moved away from the term mining to, I think, largely differentiate themselves from proof of work and say, well, staking is, energy efficient and this and that and whatever. But fundamentally, at least in my mind and a lot of, I think, people in crypto, anything that an individual is doing on behalf of a protocol that secures it is mining. So hence pop mining. It is obviously different from proof of work mining, where proof of work you're paying in hardware, opportunity cost, and electricity, and then for pop mining you're paying in Bitcoin, paying transaction fees to publish data. But the end result is similar in that you are spending, real world resources in some way. Bitcoin is effectively a real world resource. It's just a very distilled version of, Bitcoin's network and infrastructure and security that it has natively, but you're spending that in order to provide a protocol, Hemi, with security, and in exchange for doing that, the protocol rewards you. So hence we call it mining. Let's see, anything else here? Will there be an ENS on Hemi? There's actually 2 right now. I think only one of them maybe is ENS compatible, but there are 2 name services launched on Hemi. What was the first meme coin on Hemi? It was the hair token, which hopefully we'll be doing something cool with very soon. No promises there, and it is, again, a third-party project, but it's a fun community grassroots effort, so we want to do some fun stuff around it. How will Hemi earn revenue and be profitable? Hemi is really an infrastructure play, and so the Hemi network is providing a place for people to write and use dApps that run across Ethereum and Bitcoin. And so the high level strategy of Hemi is provide that infrastructure, onboard people who want to use that infrastructure, and that naturally turns into utilization, which costs money. You have to pay to use the infrastructure in, fees, and also bringing value to the protocol that then, it's kind of like a rolling snowball where some people want to interact with this protocol, so they bring assets on chain, they create liquidity in that protocol, then other people can benefit from using the liquidity in that protocol, so they come in, and then there's more users with more assets, so those bring in more protocols to get this snowball effect of, you created this, great party that combines Bitcoin and Ethereum and lets people do all these cool new things between the 2 networks. That should bring in protocols who want to leverage that. That should bring in users who want to leverage and use and interact with those protocols. And that basically creates this, rolling snowball of activity that all boils down basically to the, fees getting paid on the network and the, Hemi token getting used in interesting consumptive use cases to benefit those protocols. And that's, the water flowing through the ecosystem basically that creates value for the entire ecosystem. And then the L3s are basically a supercharged version of that, where it's not just protocols that want to come, it's people want to deploy entire ecosystems or kind of, sub ecosystems in a way that leverage all that existing liquidity, infrastructure, security that we're building, the core base of the Hemi L2, but then this L3 infrastructure for enabling L3s to tap that. And that brings in, more users, more scalability, more assets, more use cases, EVM or execution engine customizability, consensus customizability, all those features that let people do what they want to do with their own, custom chain in this environment that gives them all this stuff automatically bootstrapped, whether, liquidity, access to Bitcoin, state access to Ethereum state, cross-chain calls, and everything else that we're bundling into the Hemi ecosystem. Let's see. What is the iBroke Sepolia NFT used for? That is still TBD. For now, it's just a fun NFT for participating in open season and maxing out rewards. I'm not sure if we minted the second one yet, but there will be if you didn't max out the rewards in open season, there will be a alternate NFT as well if that has not already been minted. So no use case yet. We are going to do something fun around the protocol NFTs, and so what exactly that looks like is still TBD. So stay tuned for that. But we do plan to do some fun stuff with it. And all right, I think that's most of them.
I think you got it. That was like 4 shows in one. And like I said, I can hang out and answer like more community specific stuff when the show devolves into Midweek with Rick. So I can take the
Honestly, it
baton
sounds a
from
little more fun.
I, I don't know, bud. I don't know. Well, all right. So, Jesus, yeah, that was like 4 Midweek with Maxes at once. That was incredible. We're gonna have a lot of content from that. Okay, everyone. Max needs to go. Thank you all so much for attending. Thank you to Marco, Max, and John for all the information and hanging out today. Thank you to Josh always for keeping me sane. Max, do you have anything, or team? Do you guys have anything before you have to go?
No, thanks everyone. We'll see you next week. Shout out to all the moderators who are helping make the Hemi community actually function and run as a well-oiled machine, and let Joshua and Rick at least get some sleep. So greatly appreciate all that. And yeah, a lot of exciting stuff coming. Looking forward to seeing everyone next week. And we should have pop points for testnet up so we can finally close out the testnet season very soon. So stay tuned for that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Marco, John, any parting words?
As always, guys, thanks for showing up, and thanks for the questions. I appreciate it. Hopefully, we addressed everything for you. So I will get more clarity on some of the more poignant points on points and Demos verification, so that hopefully we can get some clarity there. So moving forward, thanks, guys.
Send in those PRs. We appreciate them.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I'm gonna hang out still, and I guess I'll keep it recording because Biggs loves listening to me ramble. So if you have any community specific stuff, I can answer it. I see a couple in the hopper right now that we can get into. Let's see. Okay, Discord role perks. Let's talk about that. So Discord role perks, we are currently working on it right now. I don't have information on it as of yet, but there are certain Discord roles that we do want to add perks for. I can't be really specific, but I can say it's going to probably be like higher tier XP roles, such as maybe like level 20 to 30 and up, as well as content creator based, and of course our community creative stuff like that. So basically, contributing cool stuff to Hemi and the Hemi ecosystem. We're going to do our best to add cool perks to that. Sorry, what does it say? When mainnet drop at TGE? I'm not Max. This is community only. Sorry, I don't know. Before GTA 6. That's the best I got. All right, let's talk the I Broke Sepolia NFT. So the I Broke Sepolia NFT was given to users who completed the maximum amount of points or the maximum amount of tasks during open season that happened in October of 2024. Those people who did that received the first of 2 NFTs. As Max alluded to, there is a second one coming for literally everybody who did something during the open season event. So the people who hit the max amount of numbers are also going to get this, but so is everyone else. And it's kind of the same vibe as the first one, where, not to give too much away, but it's another cat probably holding a sledgehammer. It looks pretty cool, and everyone's going to get that who participated in the event. Again, the event that happened in October of 2024, when effectively we destroyed Sepolia for like 24 to 48 hours, something like that. What else can I answer? Let's see. All right, so we covered roles, we covered perks, we covered that NFT. Does anyone else have community questions? Remember, community questions. If you're going to ask about pop mining, TGE, airdrops, or anything like that, I'm just going to give you a shrug emoji because I don't know. Nope. Sorry, Fox. When does not work. Unless it's community focused. Then I can probably answer it. We could talk about Foxstar collecting Discord roles like he's Thanos with Infinity Stones. That's fun. What is that? Tell me something about the intern. Oh, good God. Oh, dear God. Niera, I don't know. I don't know anything about the node license. That was a Max question. Please feel free to ask him next week. When
What is the
Rap
next
God?
intern AMA?
Never. How about that? That's never going to happen again. It was pretty fun, but luckily Max showed up and saved the day. When Rap God? That's an interesting question. So I can say this. The bot's not lying. Max said that he is not going to perform Rap God by Eminem, no matter how awesome his hair is. Okay? So that's not going to happen. But if anyone of the Amigos uploads a video of them and posts it in the meme channel, and it's you absolutely slaying the first verse of Rap God by Eminem, we'll give you the Rap God role. And you know what? We'll add perks to it when we're going through perks. How about that? So that's when Rap God. What else we got? Anyone else? Also, that's been a thing for a couple weeks now, and no one's even attempted to slay the first verse of Rap God. I'm very disappointed. I'm not upset. I'm just disappointed because I really like that song. Aji, 3 seconds is not the first verse of Rap God. I appreciate the attempt, but no. Let's see. Josh, do we have anything else that you see? Instead of Max, can John do it? John, do you want to slay the first verse of Rap God? I'm going to take that as a no.
There's a very slight chance I will consider. Very slight, though.
Oh my. Okay. Okay, I'm going to add that to the bot.
By all means, do your worst.
It'll just say Max has stated that he cannot do it, but there's a very slight chance that John Greenwood may. Phil covered merch. What do you want to know about the intern? I can field some of those. Oh dear God. Several people typing. Oh, John, you're still getting actual questions.
Yeah, so let me repeat myself here. And I totally understand why, but just to clarify, there was no such thing as verification on Deimos on testnet. We had always disabled it. So you didn't verify on testnet. You minted an only me ID on testnet, which as part of the sign up process hashes your biometrics. Verification is when you click the verify button, which is on the top, which was completely grayed out and unusable on testnet. And that will then update the last time that user was verified as the same person, right? So there was no verification on testnet. Once again, regarding verification on mainnet, we will announce or make this clear to you when it needs to be done or over what period of time. If you have verified now, perhaps you got ahead of that. I don't know. It depends on which logic we choose, but we will make it clear and as concise as possible. Regarding other stuff about the fee, about minting on other networks, I will address those things with my team over at Deimos. So totally understood there.
Awesome. Thank you so much again for the clarification. Do we have any questions about community, the intern, contests? When can we do an AMA with the Hemi engineers? Josh, you are a Hemi engineer. Why don't you ask your team and then we'll set it up? Why are you asking me? We can do it anytime you want. Literally. You're the server owner. You tell me. When do you want to do it? All right. Yeah, I mean, technically, yeah, you can ban me, but people would probably enjoy that. Okay, so going once. Anyone? Oh, here we go. Can we have an upcoming gaming session? Yeah. The best way to do it is under community content. Pitch us your idea of what you want to do, what you think the community would really like to see, and we can have an open conversation regarding it. Josh, why? Okay, but yeah, no, seriously, I think that's the best way to do it. There's a couple things to keep in mind though regarding that. A lot of folks have suggested like poker and things like that. For many reasons, we can't do anything within our Discord that even remotely resembles gambling. We also can't offer financial advice. There's a lot of stuff we can't do for legality and just also moral reasons. So if you have games that do not involve, you guys really gave 10 upvotes on that? Well, this is the last time I'm doing a midweek with Rick after midweek with Max. No, but seriously, if you have quiz games and things of that, please put it in community content. Just headline it as game suggestion, and we can do something around that. We can figure out what we can offer. Maybe it's like bonus Discord XP to like advance in roles. Once we have perks situated, maybe we can figure something like that. I'd play the hell out of PUBG. Like, who said that? Uzman? Yeah, man. I'd get down on PUBG. I mean, we
First
we
of
just
all, I'm just going to point something out there, right? I will P90 you all any day. So just saying, or op you all. So just anytime, anywhere.
okay. Greenwood's in. All right. So we're doing. Josh, stop trying to ban me. All right. So PUBG, yeah. You guys want to do PUBG? When? Here, hold on. Let me type it so folks understand. When PUBG. There we go. All right. So yeah. All right. Greenwood's in. I'm in. Josh, you in? Oh, I might not be in because apparently everyone upvoted to ban me. That's awesome. Thanks, guys. Yeah. Oh yeah. Wait. Who said that? Nar? Yeah, Nar. I'm gonna not only remember this, but I'm gonna write this down. Whoever upvoted me. Wow. Feeling the love today. All right. So okay, PUBG, but quiz games like also like contest ideas and things like that. Like we're a really open community. So if you guys have ideas for cool activities you want to see that we can get more people involved in, like it would help if it had like a Hemi spin so I can justify it as I'm working, but we can also make exceptions like PUBG or Call of Duty does sound pretty fun. Ajit? No. No. If a chess game? Yeah, chess could be cool. Josh, do we have the ability to do that? Okay, good talk.
Yes, that's a Discord activity for chess.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so check the bots too, guys. There are some like standing games that are available. Like chess. There was that what was that other one we played? The meme game is super fun.
Everyone seems to like Gartic Phone, so we might be doing that at some point.
Yeah, the Gartic games, that's something we definitely want to do. There is a thread on that already. Someone start a PUBG thread. Like, give me your idea, like of what time, like how you think it could work, and yeah, what the hell? I mean, why not, right? All right. Now we're just devolving into having a discussion about which video game is the best. So, does anyone have any other community-related questions that I can handle? Otherwise, it's been a blast, but I'm gonna go. Going once. At Heron can immediately upload it to YouTube because I was late to join. So I will be uploading the recording, as will Joshua, to our social team, and they'll get it up as quick as possible. It's usually like later in the afternoon, but sometimes it could be tomorrow. So yeah, it'll be up soon enough, and you can hear the very, very, very informative midweek with Max, and then whatever the hell I'm doing right now. So, you know. Yeah, Fortnite, Call of Duty. We're back to video games. Okay. But yeah, all right. So long and short, did the NFT explanation. We discussed roles and perks, game, contest, etc. ideas. Hit it, start a thread in community creations, and let's discuss. New post and game suggestion. Awesome. Love that. All right. New size. I'm trying to think of. Damn, I almost swore like 3 times. I will mess you up in PUBG, buddy. Sorry, but yeah, dude. I'm pretty dirty at that game. All right. Well, I feel like Biggs is gonna throw me out a window when he hears this entire recording. I hope he leaves this part in, because what the hell. Otherwise, I'll clip it and I'll just post it in Discord. I can do that. All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us for Midweek with Max and the Overrun. Do you guys dig this? Do you guys want to start doing like a community, like a mini community AMA after Midweek with Max wraps? Is this helpful at all? Here, if it's helpful, I'll do this. Just upvote that X. Pretend it's you guys wanting to kick me out of Discord. And yeah, we'll see. All right, but on a very serious note, I do want to thank our entire moderation team: Anubis, Aji, Alex, Avi, our intern, creator Foxstar, aka Thanos, Funky, Hadu, Koki, Lyco, New Size, No Tears, and Yahoos. You guys are obviously doing the Lord's work every day, and you keep Joshua and I very sane, and we thank you. You're all very good at memes as well. Ajit, I can't listen to that because I'm live right now, but if that's you doing Rap God, post it in the meme channel. But do it all at once because I don't want to listen to a bunch of little clips. Yeah, I wouldn't say very sane either. Sane enough works. All right, but on that note, everyone, if there's no more community questions, I think we're going to wrap this up, and I'll see you in general chat. Yay. All right. Love that for us.
Puppets. I'm out.
Bye.
All right. Take care, all. Have a good one, and we'll.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. All right, and how did you find out about Hemi? What was your entry into the Hemiverse?
Yeah, well, so I mean, we had been looking at like a number of different like L2s that had been coming out over the past year or so. And I think either it was through like a mutual connection or just through recommendation through a friend or something. I think we were recommended to check out Hemi. I mean, you guys have like, obviously like a great backing. Your ecosystem, I think is stellar. Yeah, you guys also have like, fantastic tech, and we're really excited to sort of check you guys out and work with you guys. So I think it was just we had been shopping around and we found Hemi and was like, wow, this is like a really perfect fit to I think like sort of unlock the degen underbelly of like the Bitcoin L2 ecosystem through our app and through you guys.
Excellent, and no, and I'm going to shamelessly steal that term, degen underbelly. So if you see any of our marketing moving forward, I'll be sure to give credit where due. So give us a sense for, again, I'll ask you the same question I asked Alex. Once this session ends, what would you like the Amigos to do? What's the first thing you'd want them to do?
Yeah, definitely. So we're actually not. We're gonna be on Hemi's mainnet very, very soon. We're cooking up like a special rewards program and some awesome community events that we're just like working on finishing up the final details on for all the Hemigos to use our platform and its full functions. Right now we're on testnet though, and so this is a great opportunity to sort of practice our platform and try it out with demo money essentially, totally free, totally risk free. And we're also running a raffle right now. So if you trade on the platform, you can win our token just by making a trade. So super easy to do. And then, once we're on mainnet, which should be, very, 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 very soon, we're going to be kicking off an amazing way for people to earn even more points for our incentive program for our airdrop. Also, we're going to have some NFT events, which is an all access pass for the Artura ecosystem as well. That's going to be coming out. So lots to look forward to. But yeah, try out our platform. It's the last time before mainnet.
And you guys heard it here first, amigos. Any thoughts that you want to leave the amigos with?
No, yeah. I think that's it for the most part. Yeah, appreciate you guys having us here. More alpha dropping soon, but we're really excited to be working and collaborating with everybody in the Hemi ecosystem. So thank you, Amigos.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Thanks for joining us.